Hey guys, welcome back to Small Talk, small conversations with huge impact. My name is Alec and I'm your host. And before anything else, I would like to thank each and every one of you who is listening to the podcast right now. You guys are my oxygen. You guys push me to become a better version of myself. I just want to thank each and every one of you who is a part of this growing community that is addicted and obsessed with self-help, self-improvement, and self-love. If you're a first time in this podcast, make sure you check out the other podcasts because they have a lot of tools and techniques that you can use in your daily lives so that you can make better decisions for yourself and for the people around you. So make sure that you check on that. And for the people who are an avid podcast listener, welcome back. I hope that you learned something from this episode, and I hope that you continue to support the things that I put out on social media. So again, thank you so much. And also, I just want to give a huge shout out for the people who are subscribed to the newsletter. And if you've already subscribed, you probably have an idea what are the things that we're going to talk about today. But I just want to appreciate you guys because I really love writing. While I'm not at the best I'm not the best writer, blogger, whatever you want to call me. I just want to say that I put out my heart in creating the stuff that I send to you guys. So the people who are sharing their comments about the newsletter, it just makes my heart full. So thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you do. Send me an orange heart on my Instagram or go to www.whereyourmindset.com and check out the merch and make sure that you subscribe to the newsletter as well. And so yeah. Oh, lastly, I just want to say that if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure that you leave this podcast a rating and review because some of you may not know this, but it actually helps the podcast grow and it helps the podcast push to a higher rank and makes Apple recommend it to a lot of podcast listeners out there. So make sure that you leave a comment. I really love reading comments from you guys. And for example, Rald18 said, I heard about this podcast many times, but I never tried it until I experienced a painful breakup. Many of you, when experience the kind of hurt, will find a way to at least help them. Mine was here. Listening to your podcast helped me to understand why it happened. It's not easy, I know, but in some point, I'm getting there. I hope you will continue helping other people like me who have been in their worst stages of their lives. Continue to make this stuff happen in this platform. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rald. I hope that you continue fighting. I hope you keep the faith, and I swear better days are ahead. So thank you for your support, and I appreciate the comment. I appreciate the 5 stars. And again, it only takes a few minutes, so make sure that you leave a podcast rating and review for that. Okay, so today we are going to talk about one of the best ways that we can learn new things. And that is by emptying your cup. A university professor went to visit a famous Zen master. While the master quietly served tea, the professor talked about Zen. The professor talked about Zen. The master poured the visitor's cup to the brim and then kept pouring. The professor watched the overflowing cup until he could no longer restrain himself. It's full. No more will go in, the professor blurted. This is you, the master replied. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup? And if you listen to one of my previous podcasts, Dr. Gia's season, she said that the only way that we could carry our cups is to make sure that we remove some of its content so that it at least we could try to make it lighter and we could help ourselves carry it as we move forward, something like that. And yeah, if you haven't listened to that episode with Dr. Gia, make sure that you do. Just scroll on my show and you'll find it. And when I heard what Dr. Gia said and I read this very famous story about Zen and this professor, I realized that all of us have our cups. And when we're brought into this world, we're also given a cup, right? And as we're growing up, our parents try to fill it with comfort, with love, with security, with lessons, morals, norms. They try to fill our cups. Unconsciously, though, they also add in a few bad experiences, some negative attitude, negative mindset. They also add in some few traumas for some people. And these things, we carry them into our cup. And as we grow older, our cups become larger and larger. And when we get out in the real world, when we step out of our comfort zone, most of the time life adds in some few things into our cup as well, such as struggles, disappointments, failures, judgments, and these negative stuff will also be added into our cup. And we will get to a point in our lives that our cups is just overflowing. And most of the time, we don't know what's actually inside our cups. And if you're one of the people like me who had a not so good childhood, you'll understand that that the water or the contents inside our cups is dirty. There are so many bad stuff inside our cups. And there will come a point in your life that you will realize that life's offering us so many good things. There's so many kindness in this world. There's so much wealth in this world. There's so much love that exists in this world. But we, for some reason, cannot accept those things. We don't have those things. And so, why is that happening? And you know what's worse is that our cups are overflowing, right? And the cups, what's inside of it, is not just actually a problem for us. Because when it's overflowing, it also spills to our careers. We get, um, we get, we're having a bad performance in our jobs. Na-burn out tayo. It also affects our studies. Ayaw nating kumilos kasi meron tayong emotional baggage. We're carrying so much in our cups that we can't do our assignments or tasks. It even affects our relationships with our friends because we're so stressed, we're so anxious, we're so stressed. Punong-puno tayo ng bad vibes that tendency, irritable tayo sa lahat ng tao. Nanay natin, nasasagot natin. Kapatid natin, nilalabasan natin ng sama ng loob. Even our partners, our girlfriends, our boyfriends, our wives, our husbands. They're at the receiving end of what's inside our cups. The bad contents inside our cups spills to them. And so every single aspect in your life just feels that everything's problematic. But what we don't see is that most of the circumstances, most of the things that are happening, that most of the negative stuff that is happening in our lives is because we have so much dirty water inside our cups. And so I've also seen that life is so good, that there are glimpses in our lives where we can say that life is so amazing. We've seen that from the best moment of our lives. And I want you to remember one of the best feelings that you've ever had. Like one of the most memorable experience that you've ever experienced. And in those moments, you can say, you can attest that life can be fucking amazing. Life can be awesome. Life can be filled with love. Life can be filled with comfort, with security, with abundance, with growth. And we can see them from our best moments of our lives. And so we're asking, why are we not having more of those stuff? So one thing that I discovered is that we're not able to see and receive the grace that God wants us to receive, that the universe is giving us, is because our cups are full. And personally, I have been dealing with that kind of shit for the past few days. I have been so anxious. I have been so down, and I realized that I can't be the way that I used to be because my cup right now is just too heavy and too dirty, to be honest. And so I figured, because alam ko sa sarili ko na I can be a person that shares positivity, that shares love, that shares good vibes to the people around me. But right now, I'm not doing it. Why? It's because what's inside of me is corrupt. What's inside of me is just too much. I can't be a source of love if I'm full of hate. I can't be a source of abundance if I feel everything is scarce. I can't be a source of light to the people around me if my heart is full of darkness. And so one thing that we can do to be able to do those stuff is to empty our cups. And you might say, so how do we even empty our cups? And this also applies to, for example, you think, and you might say, so how do we even empty our cups? What are you even trying to say, Alec? You've been speaking figuratively for the past 10 minutes. What are we going to do with it? And honestly, to be honest, and frankly, I'm not sure. And these are the moments that I'm going to be completely frank with you guys. I'm not really sure. But something happened with me last night. I was chatting with a friend, and my friend asked me, "How are you? Why are you still up?" And he said that, "Are you a Christian?" I said, "Yes, I am." And he said that understand that sometimes when we reach these low moments in life, it's our spirit thirsty for God. Parang it's a quick reminder that God says, hey, don't depend so much that our struggles, our questions in life are quick reminders that, hey, we should not depend so much on what we know and who we are. We still have a divine Father up there who we can't do without. And I figured that he has a point. And I figured that my friend has a point. Most of the time, we feel that we know things. But time and time again, we get into this position where we doubt ourselves, where we fear ourselves. And this is a humbling way of the universe of telling us that even though you know a lot of things, there's so much to learn. And the only way that we can learn those stuff is to actually empty our cups. Refresh our minds. Remove what we know, what we perceive about things, and try to look at things at a different perspective. If we constantly believe that we can't add in more things more stuff into our lives, maybe that's true because your cup is full. Because all your thoughts are already fixed. May period na agad kahit hindi pa. And even though life is life is happening every single day, a lot of us, some of us are actually putting a period in what we think, in what we know, and what we believe in. And this robs us from actually learning new things. Sometimes we have to unlearn things to learn them. And I really believe that in a way that I really believe that when we hit our rock bottoms, we should just actually, and one way of doing that, of unlearning things, and one way of doing that, of unlearning things, is to just surrender what we know, what we think we know, to God, to the universe, to something bigger than ourselves. That there is a plan happening right now. That God or the universe, if you don't believe in God, if you don't have any gods, God or the universe is working behind the scenes to make sure that we go on the right path. So we just need to empty our cups. And there are a lot of ways that we could actually empty our cups. We could throw it away. We could throw it to another person. We could drink it all. Or we can ask someone else to take away the bad contents inside our cups. There is no specific way that you could empty your cup. It's all up to you. You can start your own fresh life. You can go to therapy to unload the negative stuff inside your cup. You can do whatever you want as long as you try to empty your cup, to remove the negative contents inside your cups. Because only then will you able to receive the grace and the blessings that God is giving you. And so, in this podcast, in this episode, I just want all of us to approach every single day with an empty cup, with the belief that we have so many things to learn and life is teaching us in its very weird and hurtful and sometimes painful ways, in its own unique ways. We gotta understand that every single part of what's happening in our lives is a part of the process that God wants us to go through. And so if you feel like your cup is overflowing right now, then surrender your cup to God, to the universe, and just empty it. And just empty your cup. Once you've emptied your cup, make sure that the things that come inside your cup are the things that you want to spill to other people. And that's love, that's abundance, that's growth, that's comfort, that's care, that's kindness. And if you fill your cup with those stuff, you will be glad that your cup is overflowing. Only then will you be happy that your cup is spilling to other people, because your cup has so many goodness in it. And so forgive me if this episode is a kind of figurative way. I promise I'll get back on you on the next episode, because I'm actually recording 3 episodes right now to make sure that I don't know, I have a lot of stuff in my mind, and some of it are vague, some of it are really practical, and this is actually an introduction to to the next episode. So make sure that if you're listening right now, continue to the next episode so that we can discuss more on how we could actually empty our cups practically. So if you love this episode, if you enjoyed me speaking this figuratively, I hope you really get the message. Sana may natutunan kayo. I really hope that you got something out of it. And if you do, please tag me on IG. It's at Small Talk Podcast. Give me your insights and let me know what you like from this episode. And make sure that you listen to the next episode where I will share with you some of the things that I did to empty my cup. So again, thank you so much. Thank you nakaabot kayo dito. And I hope that you guys continue to support the podcast. And I hope meron kayo natutunan ngayong araw na to. So maraming salamat. And again, I'm your host, Alec Cuenca. And this is Small Talk, small conversations with huge impact. Maraming salamat. Talk to you guys next episode. Bye-bye.